Let's talk about AI security. Specifically, how in the world do you train your team to avoid risks that honestly look, well, they look just like their normal, everyday work? It's a really tricky problem, but guess what? There's a blueprint for solving it. So let's dive in.
Oh, and before we really get going, I just want to be super clear about where this info is coming from. This entire explainer is pulled from Chapter 3 of a tutorial on AI security training by Virtualization Options LLC. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff.
So, first things first, we need to understand the real problem here. When you think of AI security threats, you're probably picturing hackers in hoodies breaking through firewalls, right? But the biggest risks, they're way more subtle. It all comes down to the human factor.
And this quote just nails it. The real danger isn't that the AI system is broken or has a bug. Nope. The system is often working perfectly. The risk comes from people using that perfectly good tool in an insecure way, and a lot of the time, they don't even know they're doing it. That is a much harder problem to fix than just patching some code.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If the risk is literally woven into someone's daily tasks, like an employee just pasting some sensitive company info into a public chatbot to get a summary, how can you possibly train against that? How do you even spot it?
Well, the solution is to stop guessing and start getting systematic. We need a real blueprint, a structured way to map out where these risks are actually hiding in people's day-to-day jobs. And that, my friends, is where something called job task analysis comes into play.
So what is job task analysis, or JTA? Look, it's not just a quick chat with a manager. It's a formal, step-by-step process. It's about methodically documenting every single way a person in a specific job interacts with an AI system. The whole point is to find those hidden weak spots right there in their workflow.
And this is absolutely crucial. Just making a list of all the AI tools your company uses, that's not going to cut it. JTA forces you to dig deeper, to focus on the how. How are people prompting the AI? What kind of data are they feeding it? How do they use the answers it gives back? That is where the risk lives.
And here's the entire process, right here in a nutshell. It's a 5-step framework. You start big by just documenting what a person's core job is. Then you zoom in, finding every single one of those AI touchpoints. From there, you analyze the security risks, figure out what doing it right actually looks like, and then finally, you see where your team is at right now.
Okay, that all sounds great, but how do you actually do it? Well, you can't do this from an ivory tower. You need to gather intelligence from the source, from the employees themselves. You need that real, on-the-ground intel.
And you've got 3 main tools in your toolkit to get this done. You've got interviews, which are great for getting the deep story. You've got observations, where you actually watch people work. And you've got surveys, for getting data from a whole lot of people at once.
This table gives you a fantastic way to think about it. Interviews? They're perfect for those complex, one-of-a-kind jobs where you need rich details. But yeah, they're time-consuming. Observations are pure gold because you see what people actually do, not just what they say they do. And surveys? Super efficient for getting data from, say, your entire sales team. Honestly, the best approach is usually a mix of all 3.
Okay, so you've collected all this awesome data. Now what? You can't just let it sit in a pile of notes. You have to organize it into something you can actually use. And that something is called a task inventory.
Think of the task inventory as the foundation for your entire training program. For every single AI-related task, you're not just writing down what it is, you're capturing how often it's done, how important it is, the sensitivity of the data, and this is the big one, the potential consequences if it all goes wrong. This level of detail is what lets you make smart moves later.
And that brings us to the payoff, because now, with this super detailed task inventory in hand, you can finally prioritize. This is where all that analysis turns into a real strategy, helping you focus your time and your budget where you'll get the biggest security bang for your buck.
Because let's be real, you can't build a massive, in-depth training course for every single little thing someone does. You shouldn't either. Some risks are just way bigger than others. The goal is to put your training efforts where they matter the most.
So, how do you decide what matters most? Well, you use a clear set of criteria, like these. You're looking at a few things together. A task that's done every single day, involves super sensitive data, and has a huge security impact if it fails? Yeah, that's a top priority. Something done once a year, with public data? Not so much. And this matrix shows you exactly how to translate that priority level into a real training plan. For those high-priority tasks, you need heavy-duty, hands-on training.
For medium priority stuff, maybe a self-paced online module or a simple checklist is enough. And for the low priority tasks, just having a guide they can look up when they need it might be all it takes. See? This is how you build a training program that's smart, efficient, and actually works.
So, you've got the blueprint now. You know how to find the real-world AI security risks and build training that solves for them. Which leaves us with one final thought, a question for you to take with you. What's the very first high-frequency, high-risk task in your own organization that you need to put under the microscope?